The sky is beginning to lighten. It has to be near dawn. I jog through the forest. The wind bites through my thin coat. Our uniforms are made to look nice, but are cheaply made and are poor protection against the cold. I wonder if they noticed that I'm gone yet. I've been walking for hours. I snuck out at midnight after most everyone had gone to sleep. With my meager savings, I bribed the guards at the gate, but who knows if they will keep our bargain. Something rustles nearby. I freeze, holding my breath. Is it a patrol? Have they found me? I duck behind a tree. Heart pounding, I strain to hear. If they see me, they will shoot me. I have betrayed them, the fatherland, and most of all, our dear leader. I have aligned myself with our capitalist enemies who are allied with hostile, imperialist America. I am a North Korean soldier defecting across the DMZ to South Korea. When we were young, my grandfather used to tell my brother and I stories of his life, how his parents unfairly lost the family farm during the time Imperial Japan ruled Korea with an iron fist. Grandfather was too young to fight in World War II, but remembered as clear as day when Soviet tanks rolled down the streets of Pyongyang after the war during occupation. As a young man, grandfather was drafted into military service and proudly fought to unify the two Koreas. He always pointed out to us that the Korean Armistice Agreement was only a ceasefire, not a peace treaty. We did not bow to greedy capitalist South. We are still at war, and we should always be prepared for the Republic of Korea and the United States to attack us. The rustling gets louder. Something large is coming my way, pushing through the underbrush. I crouch down behind my tree. If a patrol sees me, they will not hesitate to fire. I'm a traitor. Furthermore, it's their duty and they would be punished if they did not shoot. I don't blame them. If I was in their position, I would shoot deserters too. I take deep breaths, trying to calm my pounding heart. After the war, my grandfather spent many long years manning guard posts at the DMZ, the border buffer zone between the two Koreas. Grandfather passed away when my brother was 9 and I was 12. Did he ever get curious looking through his binoculars into South Korea? I wonder what he would think of the choices we have made. For 3 generations, the men in my family have honorably served the fatherland. I entered the military at 17 years old, right after graduating high school. I have served for 4 years. If I were to stay, I have another 6 to 8 years of mandatory military service ahead of me, for a total of 10 to 12 years, the longest conscription terms in the world. My knees ache from crouching. The frost on the ground dampens my pants. The rustling grows louder still. That noise can't be soldiers. They'd never be so loud or clumsy. Could it be a bear? Since the war, the borderlands have been restricted to humans. The DMZ has become a haven for wildlife. Even rare species such as black bears are thriving here. Suddenly, a huge musk deer stag crashes out of the brush. I sag in relief and then continue my hike. I was proud to enlist and serve my country. But my brother, since our childhood, he has always been stubborn-minded, reckless. I don't know why. Maybe it was the smuggled American action movies we saw that put these ideas in his head. But he always insisted that there was something more out there, that things are not what they seemed, and contrary to what we learned, the Americans were not evil or scary and were not poorer than North Korea. Of course, father scolded and punished my brother whenever he talked that way. The walls have ears, father would say. For a long time, I ignored what my brother said. But slowly, I began to see the truth of his words myself. In school, we spent a lot of time learning about our dear leaders, Kim Il-sung and his successor, his son, Kim Jong-il. They were depicted as supreme gods who could make everything happen. If it came to war, North Korea would win. Our dear leaders would not allow defeat. We have the strongest and the best military in the world. And yet, our troops are hungry. Being stationed near the capital city of Pyongyang, I eat better than most soldiers, worse than some. Most of my meals consist of potatoes and rice. In rural areas, soldiers go scavenging, stealing from locals to supplement their meager rations. It's dishonorable to steal, but what can you do when you're hungry? Officers turn a blind eye or even encourage soldiers to loot. They justify it saying the troops are there to keep citizens safe and everyone must do their part for North Korea. But it isn't fair. The elite who live in the capital do not suffer like the rural citizens who live in the countryside do. They say we're all comrades and we should work hard, but nepotism determines who lives better in the city or not. On holidays, all the soldiers march. We have big parades where troop after troop marches, showing our might to the world. But are we mighty? How are we to win wars when our troops are faint with hunger? I come across a road in the forest. It's old and rutted, clearly unused, but I feel exposed as I cross it. For the millionth time, I wonder if they're after me. By this time, I've missed roll call. They're probably hunting me down like a dog to make an example of me. A few months ago, our troop conducted a field test with the South Korean army. At the end of the day, the South Korean leader shook hands with our leader and gave the soldiers chocolate snack cakes. He respected us. He did not hate us or think we were stupid because we were North Korean soldiers. He was not jealous of North Korea either, like some of our leaders claim. The sweetness of the snack cake lingered on my tongue long after I had eaten it. My brother would have liked the taste. Birds call to each other on the forest. Their chirping lifts my spirits. Suddenly, something clinks underfoot as I walk. I freeze. As a part of a bilateral military accord between the Koreas to lessen tension, this part of the DMZ has been swept and demined. But there's a chance that they've missed some landmines. Sweat trickles down my spine. What's under my foot? Why does man want to destroy man? That sounds like a question my brother would ask. But he is not here. I make this journey because my brother cannot. After high school, my brother wanted to attend university. He is very smart and had good grades, but we didn't have the family connection to secure him enrollment. My brother declared that he'd leave the North. He wasn't going to serve in the army. He wanted to study. He wanted to watch whatever movies he liked and read any books he wanted. He wanted to live life as he saw fit. Our father was right. The walls have ears. My brother trusted the wrong person. Just before he was set to leave, they arrested him on suspicion of being a defector and sent him to re-education camp. I do not know what happened after that. They took my brother over a year ago. My father was beaten by the authorities, as was I. They like to question and then punish whole families for the perceived misdeeds of a single family member. My brother is now missing. The authorities say they released him and he is not at the camp, but he didn't come home. I have not heard from him. My father was poor after the beating. He died a few weeks ago. Some would say that he was sickly and it was poor health, but it isn't. My father died of a broken heart. Holding my breath, I gently raise my foot. Either I will live or... I gasp with relief when I see that I just stepped on an old rusty can, half buried in the dirt. The danger of the DMZ is why most defectors sneak across the Tumen River, often bribing officials on both sides and go over the border into China. Once in China, they move from safe house to safe house aided by brokers, then go to sympathetic nations such as Thailand, which will then fly them to South Korea. But using a smuggler is expensive and I don't have much money. If I were a woman, they would agree to smuggle me, forcing me to pay my trafficking debt by selling me as a slave or a bride. Besides, going to China is risky. The Chinese authorities have recently raided safe houses and cracked down on the smugglers. If they catch you, they send you back to North Korea and you go to manual labor or re-education prison camp like my brother did. At camp, you are beaten, starved, brainwashed, made to confess your sins. My heart aches for my brother. I continue on through the forest. I know beginning my life over again in South Korea will not be easy. Because I am a soldier, I will be interrogated to determine my motives for defection and for useful information about the army. Assuming I am not a threat, under the Constitution of South Korea, I will be granted citizenship. I've heard that South Korean government sends defectors to Hanawan, a residential training school where they teach you to navigate daily life in South Korea. You also learn history and South's version of what happened during the Korean War. I might even be able to find someone who can get me information on my brother's disappearance. If he is alive, I will not rest until he is in South Korea with me. I reach the fence and use a pair of clippers I stole to make a hole. I kick it open larger with my boot. I crawl through the fence, tearing my uniform. I've done it. I'm in South Korea. I wave a white piece of cloth as I jog forward. The South Koreans have probably been watching me on the thermal imaging cameras. Sometimes South Korean troops have shot at those crossing the border, sometimes not. I do not wish to take any chances. A patrol of South Korean soldiers appeared out of the fog, coming towards me. I am ordered to halt and to put my hands up. Though it's cold, I'm exhausted and scared. I smile as I comply. My future is open.